Recording in progress.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, we're set a record today. I think we're at 3:02. Usually we're right on at 3 o'clock, but today we've set a record. So thank you very much for coming and welcome you three guys, everybody else. I'm gonna got a motion here, moved by Councillor Zimmerman, second by Councillor Elliott, that the council received the closed session report regarding personal information about an unidentifiable individual, the compensation review, and further that council approves that confidential direction to staff. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. And I should have talked about pecuniary interest, because I know Councillor Dirksen has declared, and I noticed that she didn't vote, and I apologize for putting you through that.
That's okay.
During this process. So I'd just like to invite whoever's at the mic to speak into the mic. Please state your name, speak into the mic, because we have folks at home watching this. Yes, okay.
Thank you, Mayor Turton.
Go ahead, Councillor Dirksen.
It's item number 3B, closed session compensation review. And the reason for the declaration is my beloved husband works part-time for the town in winter control.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I have a motion moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Potovitz, that the minutes of the town of Minto, May 6, 2025, closed session meeting, and May 6, 2025, regular council meeting be approved. Are we on track here, Annalee, or have we skipped something?
Well, I think we're okay. And I'm sorry,
Okay.
I'm still trying to catch up. Yes.
All
You went
right.
in, you moved the motion to go into open session?
Yep.
Yep, and then we're good. Yep.
All right. So this next motion, everybody's heard it. All in favor of it? That's carried. Thank you. So I've got a motion moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the town of Minto Council convene into committee of the whole. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Delegations. So first of all, we have no public meetings, but we do have delegations. I'd like to introduce Scott Patterson, Alec Beatty, Nicholas Brower, concerns regarding 6739 Wellington Road, 109 in rezoning. And Scott, you're going to present. So if you don't mind going through your presentation, we're going to give you 10 minutes, and then we'll have a question period. Is that okay? You're well aware of our procedure?
Yes, I am.
Great. Thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Scott Patterson of Patterson Planning Consultants. Pleased to be here this afternoon on behalf of Chalmers Fuels. As most of you know, Chalmers has their main distribution facility at 6630 Wellington Road 123 in Tiviadale. Chalmers have been in business for over 60 years and currently employ 42 people. I am joined here today by Nick Brower, who is the president of Chalmers Fuels, as well as Alex Beatty, who is the president of Beatty Petroleum Consulting. Later this afternoon, a presentation will be provided by county and town staff regarding the status of the draft plan of subdivision and zone change for the lands abutting Chalmers Fuels located at 6739 Wellington Road 109. Chalmers have been participating in the approvals process and have provided written correspondence and have participated in meetings and discussions with staff regarding their concerns with the current proposal. Chalmers have retained Beatty Petroleum Consulting and another firm called Baker Risk to assist them through this process. Both companies specialize in assisting petroleum-based companies with licensing approvals and ensuring risk management and safety plans, and TSSA approvals are in place for licensing. Chalmers have also been in contact with the TSSA staff directly about the development proposal on the abutting lands. Our submissions to staff have requested that 5 of the proposed 12 lots would have restricted zoning placed on them that would limit the range of uses, in an effort to reduce the opportunity for the general public to attend to the lots, which thereby increases the general risk should an accident ever occur at the Chalmers facility. Similarly, the goal is to limit the amount of office space that would be provided on the 5 lots to limit the number of people that would be in proximity to the Chalmers operation. All of this is being done to reduce the level of risk to the public in the unlikely event that a major incident were to occur at the Chalmers facility. It is my understanding, based on the staff report, that staff are proposing to limit the zoning on only 3 lots instead of the 5 lots that have been requested by Chalmers. There has been mention by staff about the desire to find a common ground through the review of the development applications that will serve the interests of both parties. Throughout my career, finding the middle ground or position to address both parties' concerns has always been the goal. But however, in this particular interest, I am not convinced that trying to reach some happy resolution between the parties is the proper method. More so, I think that the need to reflect the public interest and protect public safety to the greatest extent possible should be the goal. Both Beatty Consulting and Baker Rist have provided recommendations on what should be appropriate for the development of the abutting lands in conjunction with the existence of the Chalmers Fuels facility. To date, there has been no peer review done to contradict the opinion provided by Baker Rist, and a requirement is that risk and safety management plans that Chalmers operate under be prepared by a professional engineer. There has been no contrary opinion provided by anyone who has similar training or similar experience in the industry to that of Beatty Consulting or Baker Rist. Chalmers have incurred significant expense to educate and inform staff on how development should progress when located next to a large-scale propane storage facility. And as such, we would ask council to err on the side of caution and follow the recommendations of Baker Rist and Beatty Consulting when the zoning bylaw amendment comes forward for consideration, that it be applied to 5 lots instead of 3, and that zoning be applicable to the entire lot and not just a portion of the specific lot. As part of the staff reports that I reviewed prior to today, staff suggested that the use of septic systems for the 2 lots in question would be placed at the back of the lot and therefore provide a buffer to the Chalmers facility. There is no requirement that I am aware of for the septic to be placed at the back. In fact, my experience has been that septics are often placed in the front yard area due to the front yard setback requirements. That area is typically already grass, so they put the septic systems in front. It saves running a pipe out through your industrial storage yard, having people drive over it, and having the septic that far removed from the building. So I just caution that as using the septics as a method to buffer may not be practical in how we would implement that going forward. It is often a cheaper exercise to put the septics in close proximity to the building and in the front yard area. So again, we ask council and staff to err on the side of caution, given the worst case scenario that could occur. And the reason I think for all of this is that most of you will probably recall the large propane explosion that occurred in Toronto in 2008. Videos of that explosion, referred to as the Sunrise Propane Industrial Gas Storage Facility, can readily be found online. As a result of that explosion and this situation that unfurled, 12,000 people were evacuated as a result. And that specific incident resulted because of a 12,000 gallon tank that exploded. Chalmers currently have 110,000 gallons on site. So again, just in comparison, 12,000 gallons caused that major issue in Toronto. Chalmers have 110,000 gallons. So as you can see, Chalmers are taking this matter very seriously, not only for their continued success of their business operations, but also due to the responsibility as a good corporate citizen and employer for the community. Again, this is evident in the expenditures that Chalmers have incurred in retaining consultants to speak on their behalf and review the abutting applications, as well as their attendance here today and continued participation in this process. I did speak with Zach about this. It was noted there was a copy of the revised zoning bylaw as part of the county or the package for this afternoon. I could not find a copy, but when the zoning bylaw is presented in its final form, naturally we will review it and provide comment to council at that time. It does appear that staff are supportive of the Chalmers recommendations to date as it relates to 3 lots of the 12-lot subdivision. However, Chalmers' concerns remain that 2 additional lots should be included and subject to the restrictive zoning that is proposed. We thank council and staff for the opportunity to provide these comments, and once again encourage council to be proactive in limiting the involuntary risk to the public associated with this project. Please expand the restrictive zoning to be applicable to 5 lots as opposed to just 3. And if you have any questions or concerns about these requests, or if you want to know anything about propane, we are here to answer any questions you might have this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay, Scott, thank you very much. Zach, Terry, anything you guys want to add? Because we're going to open this up for questions, or you want to? No, you're good? Okay. So we'll take a few minutes now and council can ask. Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
Why why is it 3 good enough? What's your thoughts behind that? You'll be able to operate the same with 3. I'm not sure.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead,
There was an analysis done initially of this project and the abutting subdivision. There was an arc generated. I think it's part of the town's staff report. There's an image that shows this arc that goes onto the abutting property and how many of those lots would be impacted should an explosion or an incident occur. That arc actually touches 5 lots. It majority of the impacts 3 of the lots, but it does touch the other 2. So we consider that 5. And our position is that if it touches the lot, it should impact the entire lot. And that those 2 lots should not be discounted going forward. So there's 3 lots that abut the property specifically, the Chalmers facility. There's 2 lots beside that again, but the actual radius that's been considered through the analysis by Beatty and Baker Risk applies to 5 lots instead of 3.
So your concern is that Chalmers would be sued or whatever if something exploded and one of the 2 lots. Your concern of
It's through you, Mr. Chair. It's not just a question of being sued or liability. And I would say the liability doesn't fall just to Chalmers. The liability falls to everyone. If you have any questions about the liability and the lawsuits and everything that happened as a result of the Sunrise accident, I think Alex can provide a lot of details on that. It's just a question of public safety. The more we can limit the public coming onto those lots or the property, it reduces the involuntary risk. So the position we've taken is that if someone buys a lot, develops it, they're going to work with their staff. They're going to know that Chalmers is there. They're going to develop an emergency management plan. They're going to develop something to let staff know that if something happens next door, this is how you get off site. But if someone's just walking in from the public, they're going to have no idea. And if something happens next door at Chalmers, what are they going to do? So the position that we've been taking is let's keep people away from the site, keep them off those lots to the greatest extent we can. And that reduces the risk. It's all about risk. So can they operate with 3 lots? Yeah, today they can operate with 3 lots. They could operate with 5. I think what they're trying to do is be proactive. And the absolute worst case scenario, if there was an accident or an incident, that 5 lots provides greater protection to the public and it reduces the liability risk to Chalmers, to the town, to staff, to whoever was involved in this approvals process going forward.
Other questions? Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Putnam. It's
Yes, through you, Mayor. So what kind of limitations are we looking at on these 5 lots in regards to what kind of activities?
Again, through you, Mr. Chair, it's all about limiting the public involvement or access to the site. So we went through the list of zoning uses that were proposed by the applicant. As soon as they started branching over into almost being a commercial land use, that's where we had concerns. And when I say we, it was an analysis by Beatty, by Baker Risk, and even the TSSA were involved in this. They were contacted and just provided comment on it as well. And it's where you cross into that commercial type use where the public is involved in coming to the site. So things that involve sales, things that involve large scale office, things that involve anything that would draw people to the site. So that's why you'll see in the zoning, I think it was part of one of the staff reports, there's a very limited range of uses that would be proposed on those specific lots. And it's just because the people that work there will know what's going on. But somebody just coming in off the street would have absolutely no idea.
Councillor Zimmerman, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Turton. So a couple things come to mind. First of all, we've got the two-wheel truck stop there, which probably is in about the same radius from Chalmers, is it not? So you're talking about limiting the public. Well, there's public coming and going from that truck stop every day of the week with no inclination that there's a propane dealership around there. So, I mean, there's inherited risk already. So the other thing, going with the TSSA thing, is there a danger that they're going to shut your business down if this goes ahead?
Yep. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Alex Beatty, Beatty Petroleum Consulting. Thank you for your question, Chairman or Councillor Zimmerman. The Tiviotdale truck stop, there are contours that we develop that are placed around the facility. And that truck stop is outside of the commercial zone. So it's allowed to be conducting business where it is as it is right now. And there is no perceived future problems with that. The difference, as Scott was saying, is the difference between the zoning of a commercial establishment, which the restaurant would be considered commercial. We have the public coming in, or an industrial establishment. And if I can use an example, if you have, Bob's Welding Shop, somebody might come in and drop something off to get it welded, but basically the people or that facility is habitated normally just by people there doing their job. And they have that training and understanding of what's going on next door, whereas the public doesn't. Your second question, I just forget.
It was about the TSSA aspect.
Oh, yes.
You said you were in contact with them. Like, is there a danger that they're going to make you jump through some crazy hoops if in fact this goes ahead with only the 3 lots that are restricted?
I'm not being evasive. The answer is yes and no. If the facilities are zoned industrial and they are properly zoned and populated by industrial establishments, then there would be no problem. However, if some of the commercial activities, let's say sticking on a restaurant, let's say someone put a restaurant there, then on the annual review, we would be forced, and actually Chalmers would have to report on themselves saying, I no longer comply with the regulations, and then they would not be allowed to relicense their facility, and effectively it would shut them down. So certainly there is a reason why we're quite concerned about how this is moving forward.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, you've been in business there a long time, so we'd hate to see something happen. So my wish would be that the 2 sides can come to sort of some understanding that this is pretty important that this be resolved. So I don't know where we'll go from here, but hopefully the 2 sides can work it out. So thanks for your answers.
Councillors, and we're not making any decisions here today. We're just kind of having an explanation. I have a couple of questions, Mr. Beatty. We talked about the lots, the 3 or the 5 that are affected, and we talked about and the way the arc goes, the rear of the yard, the rear of those lots, there's a lot of big ifs here. What exactly is it that could be, what business could be set up on those 5 or 3 lots? And I mean, it would be likely up to the individual that purchases the lot to follow the restrictions or the guidelines that have been set up by the town and Chalmers and TSSA and everybody else. I mean, we make the regulations and the rules. We don't make the rules, but we apply them. So I mean, I think when the way the arc goes, there is a chance that the building could be at the front and the septic at the back. And it just all depends on what the business is. So, I mean, that's an option. I mean, that's somebody's thinking outside the box there, I think. And what was my other question? Unless you want to go ahead and respond to that.
Sure. Possibly the easiest way to understand something about that arc, just barely touching a corner. And they have removed the private school from the permitted uses. They've removed that. But if we go back and use that as an example, if we were allowing a private school to build there, the arc would be outside of it. But what about kids playing in that playground on that area? They are now infringing on that area that we have designated as something that we shouldn't have there. So that's why we like to include all of the property so that something doesn't happen there and we have a permitted use, but all of a sudden it becomes non-permitted if someone is on some corner of that property. We like to designate the whole entire property.
The other question then was, Maple View across the road. Where do they fit? How do they fit in this? Or, so, and again, I've just seen the picture where the arc, the end of the arc is. Is it a complete circle around, Chalmers?
Yes, it is.
And it goes
And
across?
Maple, sorry,
Sorry, you go ahead.
Maple View is that new development,
Yep.
is that correct? Yes, they're outside of the arc. They're considered an industrial establishment. And in fact, the property, there's a residential property immediately to the east. And residential and commercial are the similar type properties. Okay, they fall into the same category under TSSA regulations. And in 2018 or 2019, when Chalmers decided to expand, we did a preliminary risk planning, and the old tank used to be right behind our building, and it was okay with that property, or the residential property to the east. But when we did the preliminary, we found out that those contours would now impact that residential property. So that's why the tanks got all moved to the back of the property, so that that was no longer impacting that residence right close to us. I don't know if that makes sense,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, Maple View is in the industrial area, so it could actually be quite a bit closer than it is.
And when you talk, any other questions? When we talk about the residential to the east of you, that's closer to downtown Tiviotdale.
Correct.
So the residential people, you can explain to them, educate them that there is a big cylinder of propane over here, what you have to do to get out of the explosion zone, or whatever you call it.
Correct. Actually, under another set of regulations that's instilled by Environment Canada, we're required on an annual basis to notify those property owners that are right close by, telling them that they should remain indoors if there's an emergency, unless they're advised by emergency services or the police that they should evacuate their facility. But they are notified on an annual basis of what is going on our facility, and that's through Environment Canada.
Certainly would be interesting for me anyway to see that sunrise. It's on video. I understand that.
It is, and I actually have prepared a presentation if we're able to have a meeting with you sometime in the near future.
Okay.
Anyone that wants to join in, we have a PowerPoint presentation that includes the video.
So the 12,000 that were evacuated.
Yeah.
Sorry, was it 12,000 evacuation, or was that the size of the tank?
That was both. It was a
Oh, okay.
12,000 USWG propane tank, which is, if you can picture a propane tanker driving down the road, they're probably 25 feet long, pulled by a tractor trailer. That's a 12,000 USWG. Nick has some that are 18,000. But yes, we have, our Chalmers have 110,000 USWG stored in those two tanks. And the two tanks are what drive all of our calculations. So yes, it's close to 10 times larger than the Sunrise propane explosion.
Okay, so the one of the lots, you said was designated to, and read my own writing, designated a school or something. That's been taken right off the.
Correct. Back in December, when this
Yeah.
first came to light, that was one of the things that they immediately, the
Removed.
developer certainly understood our concerns and immediately removed that from the requested. So we do see some conciliation there on their part, and we're happy to see that.
So go ahead, Councilor Riley. Go ahead.
My questions is with procedure, with us. So this will come forward as a recommendation, and whatever the recommendation you do, and then we would vote yes or no on that. And is there appeal for either side to deal with this after the fact, or how does that work? Will it go away from our council? Will it pass on to a higher level? How does that work?
So with the purpose of the reports later on in this meeting, they're just for council's information only, just to give you a quick update where things were and where things have progressed at this point. Staff will later bring forward a final report as well as a bylaw at that time for council's consideration. It is appealable by Chalmers as well as other circulated agencies. That's one part which would be approved or not. At this level, there is also the plan of subdivision that is underway as well, which the approval body for that would be council.
Okay.
Or
so-
sorry, the county, sorry, my
county.
apologies. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Other questions? It sounds complex. Do you see it as complex? I mean, we've got two different organizations working kind of against one another, if you want to use that as a word, trying to come stop the risk or slow the risk down or evade the risk and come to a common solution at the end of this. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, it's very complex. I've been doing this for 27 years, and this is the first time I've dealt with something like this, to be quite honest. I'll readily admit I know nothing about propane. I'm learning as I go too, but I'm trusting the judgment of the two professionals who are providing direction to Chalmers and to myself. Similar as I would with a wind study or a noise study or anything else, I defer to the people who are experts in the field and what they tell me to do. I review it, I consider it, and I form an opinion based on that. In this instance, I'm relying on, again, professionals who are telling me that there's a concern here and there's a big risk. And that's why I'm here before you today, providing a professional land use planning opinion that the 3 lots, while are good, and I think we're 90% of the way there with staff, that additional 10% hurdle would get us to a point where Chalmers would be very satisfied with what happened. And ultimately that decision may be made by council, because I'm not sure there is a consensus between the two property owners to get us there. There's an economic impact to Taylor, which we completely understand. But we're more so looking at just the public safety aspect of these things. So yes, very complex, very detailed. I don't have all the answers. They hopefully do. And unless there was a contrary opinion from another expert, I am relying on them. So, yes.
Okay, well, sorry. Is there somebody? Oh, go ahead. I thought you were pointing. Pardon me.
Sorry.
CAO. Go ahead,
Through
sir.
you, Mayor Chair and Council, my recommendation to you would be to accept the presentation for information. And there'll be more information coming through, I expect, before council has to make a decision on this particular file. So at your pleasure.
Yep, I'll accept a motion then and a seconder to accept. Go ahead, Councillor Elliott, Councillor Potnovitz. So we're accepting it. Do you want to?
That the council of the town of
Yep.
Minto receives the delegation regarding concerns at 6739 Wellington Road, 109 rezoning for information.
Everybody understands the motion? All in favor of the motion? Thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. And so we're moving on. If you want to stay, that's terrific. If you want to take a minute and leave, that's okay as well. But thank you for your presentation. We appreciate you being here. We're now into the public question period. The mayor, as the chair of the meeting, has a duty to preserve order and maintain decorum throughout the meeting. Although council strives to hear and be responsive to resident concerns in order to preserve order, maintain decorum, and comply with the town's procedural bylaw, I wish to caution any participants in question period that questions that use discourteous language will not be permitted. Questions that seek policies or bylaws outside of the town's jurisdiction, including policies or bylaws that might violate human rights legislation, will not be permitted. Anything that constitutes speeches or statements not in the form of a question will not be permitted, and repeat questions will not be permitted, including the repetition of questions from prior meetings. All persons shall be limited to no more than 2 questions. So question period is on us. See anyone stepping to the mic? We're going to move on to correspondence then, and I've got a recommendation moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Elliott. Council receives the correspondence as information. We've got 5 items on correspondence. today. Um, 3 of the 5 are to do with strong mayor powers. We dealt with that last meeting. The other one there is number B, or letter B, is I'm not going to talk about, and Township of Springwater. Sorry about that, Councillor Dirksen. Any other observations, or I'm going to call the question on the correspondence. All in favor of receiving the correspondence? Thank you very much. Is there something down there you want to share with the rest of the council? Mr. Zimmerman, what's up?
No, that's quite fine.
Okay, so moving right along here. Staff reports. We have no committee minutes for approval. We want to have a motion. Sorry, we're going to move on to Plan 2025-005. It's a zoning bylaw amendment for Cache Homes Inc., 41 Park Street West in Clifford. And we're going to have Zach or Sama to present the report. Who's first? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just have a brief update here. So council may recall this application was put forward November for public meeting. Subsequently, we had an official plan amendment come before council in December. That official plan amendment has now been approved by county council and is fully forced in effect. Effectively on the screen there brings development of the South End Clifford into the present designation plan. We're still working through the draft plan subdivision and zoning bylaw. Town staff, council, or sorry, town staff, county, and agencies, engineers have met the applicant to discuss the proposed changes. The applicant has submitted a revised proposal, which is included in this report. And staff supports the draft plan. I would expect the next report will be our recommendation report zoning along with the draft plan.
Thank you. Sama, anything to add to that, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I believe Zach has covered everything well, but I would like to add Town of Minto staff support the revised zoning request as it addresses the concerns raised and aligns with the town's planning goals. And yeah, if you have any questions,
Okay.
I would be happy to answer.
So we have a recommendation moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the council of the town of Minto hereby receives report PLN 2024-005 with proposed zoning bylaw amendment, the ZBA 2024-09 Cache Homes Inc. for lands legally described as part of Lot 61, Concession D, Village of Clifford, Town of Minto, County of Wellington. The municipal addresses 41 Park Street West, Clifford, for information purposes. Further, that the council of the town of Minto considers passing a bylaw at a subsequent council meeting. Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Potnovitz.
Just looking at the reduction in the exterior side yard. Question, I guess, is we have something in place in regards to location of driveways for the corner.
With this, part of this process, we did ask for an on-street parking plan by the consultants, which they did provide, and none of the garages are located on the exterior side yard. So that's going to be addressed through probably more the subdivision process than the rezoning one.
Is there actually something in there that only bylaw does have setback for the corner lot?
It does not. However, that is one of the items that staff does consider for requests in reducing that setback. If the garage driveway was on that side, to eliminate hazards such as encroachments into the daylighting triangle, we would take that into consideration with a reduced request.
Other questions for Terry, Sama, Zach? I mean, we've seen this came across our, through our council chambers a couple times, and it's been back and forth. And I think the way it's proposed today is we're all fairly happy with it.
Yes, staff did meet with the applicant several times in working over the amended requests.
Yeah.
So you may recall that the requests that were initially brought forward were a lot more than what staff is in support of currently. So there has been give and take, and I think from staff's perspective, we're to a point where we're okay with what is currently being proposed.
So we passed this today, Terry, and where does it go?
It's actually just for information.
Information, yeah.
Being there was concerns raised by
Yeah.
council, I wanted to bring this forward before we brought forward a final bylaw for council's consideration.
But today we're receiving it, so we're kind of saying that we're happy with it. We're not voting on it, but if there was somebody here that wasn't happy with the changes that we came to, then today's the time to speak up.
Yes, and I would be gauging that based on questions posed at me, so, yep.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Zimmerman.
Yeah, this is probably for you, Terry. Sure, I read that. So I can't just find it. It's about the on-street parking. Did I read somewhere that can allow some parking on Park Street?
The park or the on-street parking plan had to do within the plan of subdivision itself. One of the concerns that was brought forward at the public meeting is with these new subdivisions and, you know, not that they requested reduced frontage, but the smaller lot frontages. So what's permitted now is 40-foot frontages. The concern with those size of single-family dwellings is that in between the driveways, there'd be limited parking available. So staff did request the applicant to provide an on-street parking plan to determine how many are going to be there. So they did propose originally actually about 4 or 6 more than what is in the plan that's shown in the report. However, in order to achieve the higher number, you've got parking restricted on one side of the street and then it moves to the other side. So from an enforcement and for a functionality perspective, it would be easy to mess up and park where you're not supposed to. So under staff's direction, we wanted everything on one side, which dropped the number by 4 spaces, but we were still more than happy with the amount that's available.
And then just to further that, wintertime operations. Now, are we worried about the on-street parking in that subdivision, or
So
is that up to the subdivision developers for plowing?
Okay, so a little bit of a loaded question there. So once the town assumes the ownership of those roads, we would be maintaining it and it would fall within our normal winter parking restrictions. So no parking on street between November to April 1st, I believe it is. But prior to the town taking over ownership of it, the developer would be on the hook to provide snow removal maintenance, similar to our other subdivisions. Whether or not the on-street parking restrictions apply, I've never looked into that. Until a point we take it over. Once it's ours, they definitely kick in. Prior to that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Other questions? Then I'm going to call the question. All in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Next item on the agenda is Plan 2025-006. It's zoning by law amendment, ZBA 2024-10. It's number 2396584 Ontario Inc. Doug Taylor, concession D, part lot 114, Tiviotdale. And again, we'll have Zach or Sama present the report.
Mr. Mayor, members of council. This application, just a lot of delegations, so I won't get into too much, but we did have a public meeting back in December. There was one other concern raised at the public meeting that was properties of residents. So we are expecting some comments back from the applicants addressing some of the claims that were brought up and meeting, as well as we're expecting a few else still working through the subdivision zoning at this point in time. Bring forward recommendation for this one.
Salma, you're next. Anything you want to add?
Thank you. I think Zach has fairly covered all aspects. I have no comments.
Okay. So we have a recommendation moved by Councillor Potnovich, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report plan 2024-006 for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, ZBA 2024-10, 2396584 Ontario Inc., Doug Taylor, for land legally described as concession D, part lot 114, RP 61R8320, part 1, and municipally known as 6739 Wellington Road 109, Tiviotdale, Town of Minto, for information purposes. Questions? So moving ahead on this, this is again for information purposes, and it's to get the council's opinion on, yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, we are bringing this report forward similar to the last one, that there has been changes with the proposed zoning relief from what was initially brought forward. So yeah, we did want to identify kind of where things are at the moment, and again, to see if council had any concerns with it prior to bringing a bylaw forward at a future meeting.
So after what we've heard today, Terry, with that, if we somehow come to an agreement with Chalmers, with Taylor, with the town, and let's say we look at it both ways. We look at 5 lots, or we look at the 3. That really has not a whole lot of bearing on what we're talking here today.
It has, as I believe Scott mentioned, has financial impact on the adjacent development, similar to if there are lots that drastically impact Chalmers would be the same way. What staff is trying to weigh out is both the council's desire for businesses to expand, as well as for inviting new developments to the town. So we're trying to come up with a middle ground, as I believe Scott mentioned was the intent all the way. So some additional uses have been restricted. The town staff, a few things that we have been weighing out in terms of the indication about bringing a lot of people to the sites. Looking at the different types of businesses that would fall under a permitted use. So for instance, the private school that Scott mentioned could vary drastically in terms of what it is. A daycare is definitely not permitted under a private school. It's more a commercial school or like a dance studio. So you're not having kids flooding the site and using the exterior yard for a play yard. But it does mean, different amounts of people as well. So another example is the use of farm sales and service. So you could have people in there buying toy tractors at retail, similar to a lot of the farm sales shops around, Premier, Minto Ag, a number of them have those trinkets, probably to entice or keep the kids from getting bored while their dads are picking up parts. But then there's other businesses that strictly do repair. So you drop off your tractor, it gets fixed and go. Restricting one use encompasses everything else that would fall in it. Another item, I'd have to double check whether it's permitted, is a contractor's yard. So under that specific use, there's a range of uses or types of businesses that would fall in it and would have differing amounts of people that would be attending the site. So it's very, very difficult in terms of nailing it down just by the permitted use category. But with the items that the adjacent property owners want restricted on the property, comparing that to other uses that could go in or types of businesses that could go in, is going to fall under the same relative hazard level, if that's the concern.
So when you look at our current park in Palmerston, Industrial Park, and you go up and down the street in there, do you have an example? Is there somebody there that likely wouldn't be allowed in the Tiviotdale? I mean, there's quite a selection of,
The only one that I think of that would not be permitted at the Tividale site that's currently in operation in Palmerston is we do have one unit in an industrial rental building that's being used as an administrative office. So they have an industrial component, but their main function within that space is an office. I believe Scott mentioned that one of the restrictions that all parties were okay with was the restriction of the accessory office size, dropping it down to neighborhood of 250 square meters. Even with that size and that size limitation would not allow for a business office to go in, being that the wording is accessory, like limiting the accessory office size, which it has to be accessory to something. So principal use as a business office would not be permitted in Tivy, whereas it is permitted in Palmerston. So that would be an example. All the rest of the businesses I would anticipate would be permitted there.
yeah, go ahead.
Would the
Councillor
gym
Elliott.
be permitted?
The gym would fall under the, I think it falls under the commercial school, which the applicant has been willing to get rid of, to remove. So it would not be permitted.
Other questions? Then I'm going to call the question. All in favor of this motion? That's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we have Plan 2025-007, B925, 19998050. Ontario Limited. Okay, thanks a lot, you guys. Care of Robert Harris, Severance Urban Residential, 167 Market Street, Harriston. And I'll ask Sama to present, please.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Consent application B9-25 for an urban residential severance at 167 Margaret Street, Harriston is currently under consideration by the County of Wellington's Land Division Committee. The proposal involves severing an approximately 13.7 square meter parcel from the existing interior side yard with approximately 15.2 meter of frontage for proposed urban residential use. The retained parcel will be approximately 800 square meter with 19.9 meter of frontage on Margaret Street town. The retained parcel currently contains a two-story residential building and a shed, both of which are to be demolished and replaced with new one-story building and a detached garage. Council may recall that a public meeting for a minor variance application was held on May 6th, 2025 to seek relief for the construction of a new residential building on the retained parcel. The application was approved with two conditions as outlined in the notice of approval. The property is designated residential in the official plan and is zoned low-density residential under the zoning bylaw, which permits the creation of a new lot, provided it complies with the zoning bylaw, the official plan, and the provincial policy statement, and also aligns with the intent of the residential lot creation. Town staff are satisfied that the proposed severance meets all applicable zoning requirements, including minimum lot area and frontage, and recommended that council approve the consent application subject to the 5 conditions outlined in the report. If council has any question, I would be happy to answer.
Okay, so we have a recommendation moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of the Town of Minto recommends the County of Wellington Land Division Committee approve consent application B925 1998050 Ontario Limited, care of Robert Harris, where land legally described as Lot 7, Part Lot 8, with the municipal address of 167 Margaret Street, Hairston, in the town of Minto, and that the following conditions may be met. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conditions. Everybody's read those conditions and understands them. I can take a minute and read them, but so is there questions for Sama? No questions? Everybody's happy with moving this along or making a recommendation here? All right. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you very much. And I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. And we have our tax rating bylaw, something we do every year. So I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer, Gordon Duff, to take us through the report, please.
Great. Thank you, Chair Dirksen. As you said, this is a thing we have to do every year. And again, we're dependent on the county passing their policies and ratios. And they have done that at their meeting on April 24th. There's no large changes in it. The assessments are virtually the same. There's one slight difference from a year ago. After we had passed our tax rating bylaw, they came in with a new class for aggregates to do with the gravel pits. But I note that in Minto, it's only 2.8 million in assessment, and their total assessment is almost 1.4 billion. So it's a very, very small part and only affects a few properties this year. Everything else is pretty much the same. They kept the ratios the same, bumped up the tax relief for seniors and disabled persons a bit. But anyway, that's consistent. Our tax due dates are also consistent with what they've been for a long time, basically the end of September and November. And then we'll have a bylaw to consider later in this meeting. So any questions?
Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any questions of our treasurer? Seeing none, I will read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman and seconded by Councillor Elliott that the Council of the Town of Minto hereby receives report Finance 2025-007, 2025 tax rating bylaw prepared by the Deputy Treasurer / Revenue Coordinator for information purposes. And further that the Council of the Town of Minto considers passing bylaw 2025-025 in open session. That's where we are in open session. So not seeing any questions. I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. That carries. Next. Thank you, Treasurer Duff. I'll turn the chair back to Mayor Turk.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. Thank you, Zach Prince. Have a nice, safe trip. We're now into announcements. So I think it was Councillor Gunson's turn, but he's on vacation this week, and I did neglect to offer regrets from our deputy mayor. She's out east and, at a funeral, and our friend Councillor Gunson is on vacation. So I'm going to ask Councillor Elliott to start with the announcements.
The Leafs lost. That's it.
Well, you're still laughing about it. There's a
Every
lot of
year.
people that aren't.
Every year.
Councillor Potnowitz.
Florida won. That's all I can say.
Councillor Dirksen.
I have no announcements today.
Okay, Councillor Zimmerman.
Oh. Thank you, Mayor Turton. So just a little heads up. It's coming on June 7th. It's the annual Harrison Firefighters Pancake Breakfast, running from 7 to 11 p.m. That's at the Harrison Arena. Admission is by donation. And at the same time, the Harrison and District Horticultural Society will be hosting their annual garden festival. And that will be taking place from 8 until 2 in the pavilion area at the Harrison Arena Complex. And then for those of us who like to travel the roads in Wellington County, it's construction season. And just for a heads up, started today, I'm assuming, according to the web people, that County Roads 8 and 9, or we call them the S-Bends, south of Palmerston, they're going to be putting in a roundabout finally after all these years. And that's going to run until October. So it's always going to be lanes open, one lane each way, but you probably will be delayed. So plan accordingly. And at the same time, in that same time frame, they're going to be paving from County Road 8 over towards Tividale. So I'm not sure when they're starting that, at the same time or whenever. And then if you travel County Road 109 from Arthur east to Orangeville, just be aware that there's 4 bridges under construction, and it will probably be slow for, they're planning a good couple or 3 years to complete all that work along there. So just a good heads up.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Councillor Dirksen.
I saw Councillor Zimmerman's list and I was sure he would have this on there as well, but the Minto Farmers Market also opens on the 7th of June. And I think it is it 9 a.m.? I think it's 9 a.m. It's in the morning on the 7th of June in Palmerston. Also an event not to be missed. It's a busy day that first Saturday in June every year.
Thank you. I have a couple of announcements. First one being May 31st, the Wellington County Economic Development Group put on a rural rumble. It's
I think it's a romp, not a rumble.
that's what I have, rural romp, pardon me. Rural rumble romp.
I like
I'll
rumble.
maybe suggest to them that they change that because it gets some chuckles.
Yeah.
It's a rural romp. It's in the north end of Wellington County, and if you go on the website, you can see exactly what businesses it does take in. It's goes to the North Green Legacy property, and it's really quite interesting. When you get in the car and you go for a drive for a few hours, you get into a lot of different businesses that you likely didn't know was there. So everybody is certainly aware of the gala that's happening in Palmerston this Saturday night, May 24th. It's an annual event put on by the foundation of the Palmerston Hospital. And it's always, I forget, can somebody tell me what the money that's being raised this year is for? But you can rest assured it's a good cause. So I'm not sure if the tickets are still available, but that's what's happening at the Palmerston Arena this Saturday night. Last week, we had 3 new businesses open in Minto. First one was being the Ink Shop up on the main corners of Harrison. And the second one was Luna Soul Collectives. It's in Palmerston. And the last one was Elegant Aesthetics on the main street of Palmerston. So keep those 3 businesses in your thoughts and possibly get out and support them. I think that's it for me. So I've got a resolution moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz, that the Committee of the Whole convene into regular council. All in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. We have a resolution moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Dirksen, that the Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in Committee of the Whole. All in favor of that motion? Carried, thank you. There's some bylaws. We have a bylaw, I should say. Resolution moved by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Elliott, that bylaw 2025-025 be read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. That's the final tax rating. All in favor of the motion? It's carried. Confirmatory bylaw moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Potnevitz, that bylaw 2025-026 to confirm actions of the Council of Corporation of the Town of Minto respecting a meeting held May 20th, 25 to to be read a first, second, and third time, pass an open council and seal the corporation. All in favor of the motion? Only read that 100 times. I'm getting better at it, right? Adjournment. Resolution moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Zimmerman, that the Council of the Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor of that motion? It's carried. Thank you very much.